Christ Redeemer, Dona Marta for sunrise, and the infamous steps. Welcome to another Gaz Right video, and welcome back to Brazil and the Rio de Janeiro series. Today we've got a full day tour. We were picked up at 20 past 4 this morning, had about 3 hours sleep editing yesterday's video, but we're back at it and back to bring you guys the content. Any questions, as always, bang it in the old comments, and we're just going to get straight into it. So the tour we've done today is 75 of the Queen's English Pines. It's about 6 to 7 hours, depending on, how long it takes to get the ruthless JPEGs and ruthless feels. And yeah, hopefully going to be getting a few JPEGs, a few photos with the big fella on at the top of the hill. It's about to be a banger. Stop number 1 of the day, 4:45 a.m. was Mirador Dona Marta, rolls off the tongue, and I'm going to do a little segment in the middle talking about here and the steps afterwards, because I think when you're on a little group trip, not met anyone, I don't want to be an absolute schweff with the camera right talking at it. So I did a little bit of live stuff later for Christ Redeemer, but the steps themselves were phenomenal. However, first, the viewpoint, it's one of those. When the weather's good, the view would be absolutely beautiful. We had dense fog cover. We went there early in the morning, went back a little bit later in the afternoon where we saw a little bit more. Our tour guide was jokes. I think he could have offered a little bit more insight and in-depth knowledge about Brazil, Rio and stuff, but in terms of he's the sort of bloke you'd want to night out with you. Absolutely hilarious, singing, dancing, bringing the old vibes. And he was like, oh, do you guys want to see a picture of what it looks like normally? So I guess he didn't want to completely mug us off and just show us, yeah. And it looked phenomenal. The sun peeking out above the clouds, or more like fog and mist, more like mist, whereas we had just pure fog. You could hardly see anything. At one point we just saw Christ peeking out the sky above, and you could just about make out Copacabana Beach and a couple of the other beaches and see the sea. So that was a little bit unfortunate on that front. He did tell us some pretty interesting facts and information about the favelas. So if you are going to do a favela tour, you want to go to one of the southern ones. The northern ones are the most dangerous, so I assume they just take you to the southern ones anyway. But right next to where Christ Redeemer is, and this viewpoint, is where the favela is from the Fast and the Furious, where they filmed, and apparently they had to give a load of money, one to the cartel drug lords or whatever, of the favelas, and 2 to the police to allow them to do that. Very interesting as well. When we were driving, he was like, oh look, have you noticed all the police are outside, no police go in? He was like, if any police go in there, it'll be full gunfire, everyone kicking off and stuff like that. And the final point, which I thought was pretty crazy. Actually, no, there's a few different points. When we were chatting about drones and so forth, and getting some flare JPEGs, MP4 files, and he was saying, yeah, the cartel will attach grenades to drones and then fly them at the police or against other factions and stuff. So it sounds like absolutely loose behaviour. And one of the things that is what drives people to go and live in the favelas, he was saying, is that there's no taxes because they can just turn the water off for 2 weeks at a time. There's crazy landslides and really bad natural disasters. So part and parcel of that, the government doesn't look to collect a tax because they know you're living in such a dangerous place. I know there's probably a hell of a lot more socio-economic factors intertwined with that. But yeah, it's good to get a little bit of history, understand the place we're going to, and yeah, understand how different people across the world live. We then moved over to the Escadaria Selaron steps, or the La Paz steps. We were there at 5:30 a.m. this morning. For a little bit of context, there was no one else there. It's a weird thing to say this because we did go to Christ Redeemer later. I think this was probably the highlight of the day, just because we had a little bit better weather and because it was low down. The visibility was really good. All the steps, absolutely beautiful. Became a work of art when Jorge Selarón decided to cover them with colourful mosaics. There's 215 steps, and it's just absolute, vibrant, vivid, flare colours running. I guess throughout them. The guy who did the steps, the guy I just mentioned, then the Chilean guy, there's a picture of him at the bottom, and he's nothing like anything that I thought he'd look like. He's got this big handlebar moustache. He's just chilling, laid back, and yeah, was apparently a pretty loose bloke. You can go there on your own, but I've seen a few reports where they're saying, yeah, it's a bit more dangerous. Yeah, if you're there on your own, don't stick around too long. Like I say, not a problem for us. We were with a tour. There's 8 of us on the tour, and there's no one else there. I think it was so early. It was just walking around like just coming to terms with how bloody early it is. And then loads of different countries got involved helping with the mosaics, the colours and so forth. So there's pretty much something from every single country in the world on there. From the UK, we have Princess Diana and a little phone booth. So yeah, the phone booth, pretty synonymous of London and the old UK. And then even like there's a couple from Liechtenstein on our tour, and they even had something from Liechtenstein. So I'm pretty sure every single person watching this, where you're from, there'll be at least one thing on there. But yeah, for me, the steps, top drawer, would heavily advise. However, the viewpoint and later what you're going to see at Christ Redeemer, you definitely need a good day. It doesn't need to be sunny, but I think just clear of fog and mist and cloud, because yeah, it did really taint the whole experience. As always, questions in the comments. Get straight to the big fella. Peace. Located on top of Corcovado Hill is my 7th and final wonder of the world, Christ the Redeemer. And if you're wondering why we're at this outrageous angle, I'm going to show you right about now, because it is absolutely Sergio Ramos around here. It was funded entirely by the Brazilian people, attracting 2 million tourists per year. We're here at 8:30, 8:15 as it opens, and you cannot swing a cat around here. We've got the king there, getting a couple pictures for the old gram. Construction began in 1922 and it was completed by 1931, and it was meant to be exactly on the date when they got independence from the old Spanish. It's just the things that you love to see, a little bit of history, a little bit of culture, drenched in with some, I was going to say ruthless JPEGs, but today it's just semi-ruthless with the old fog cover behind, made of reinforced concrete, soapstone tiles, which give it, I'm going to say, white colour from the outset and the look, and when you're looking at it up from the down below in Rio, but when you're a little bit up close, it's going to be a little bit of grey tint to it. Still beautiful nonetheless. The arms open symbolises welcome and peace, and it is 98 feet tall and 92 metres across. So you've got some absolute wingspan on the old fella. The actual, well, lightning actually struck it twice, so I was going to have a quick look left or right hand. They must have fixed it by now, back in 2014, because apparently it blew one of his thumbs off, but we're back up to full fitness now. We got here at 8 this morning. Like, that's like the earliest time you can get in, and it was already busy. There's all different like escalators, all different things you have to walk through where you queue the whole way. So if you come later in the day, you will be absolutely rammed. I think tickets to come up, the guy gave us the thing that we bought were like £13–15. Obviously we paid like 71 for the entire tour. So obviously Get Your Guide is absolutely having our pants down. There's loads of scaffolding around it, and I'm going to give you a little walk up now. I can't talk as much as we're walking through, but I'm just going to show you how bloody busy this place is. So you can't come any earlier than we've got here, and then look at these crowds as we're walking through now. Trying to get a JPEG with no one in was absolutely carnage. I think I managed it with a couple of the old selfies, but yeah, cannot swing an absolute cat run. I can't even walk through people, it's that busy. And then obviously everyone's trying to get like cool perspective photos underneath. This is like a good little spot if you're going to get on this like little right hand side looking up, but you do need little boyfriends of Instagram jobby to be to be down on the floor like this. But yeah, pretty ruthless scenery. And then again, this is like what we say about a lot of things in life. It's like, if you get a clear day, if you get a good day, then it's going to be absolutely unbelievable. But like, check the visibility, check the views out on this side. So if you're looking over the whole of Rio, obviously when you're on a clear day, this will be obviously absolutely unreal. But today, visibility, things you hate to see. Tuning in for a little full review later, because maybe a little bit of a critique. Obviously a bit ruthless for everyone stood here, but yeah, this is another little spot where everyone's trying to get a photo, queuing up. And then you'd normally have Rio in the backdrop. And to be fair, like our a little walk through here as we're walking, talking, divulging. Lo siento. Ah. Literally just everyone just waving like, get out my photo, get out the way. It's so small up here. Like, when you're right in front of it, there's quite a lot of space. But yeah, when you're trying to walk through and on that little corridor bit that like overlooks Rio, you actually cannot move. There's just so many people. It's 8:17 on the absolute dot. And yeah, obviously it's super, super busy. For me, I think I always say you can only play like the ball in front of you. And do you know what I mean? We're going to have to review it and put it. That's the biggest ant I've ever seen. That's a flying ant. And you can only compare it to other ones we've done. I've done a little list. I'm going to post it on the old Insta. But I think, to be honest, for the visibility and the amount of space you get here, one, to take photos, but two, to get in the absolute mix, it could be bottom of the pile. I think at the minute I had, I think the Great Wall, number one. Petra's up there, Taj is up there, but for me, I think if you come on a pure clear day, I think it'd be a lot different. You'll see the visibility. You see all Rio in the backdrop, but unfortunately, you know what we say on this channel, we're super honest. I think because it's a bad view today, it's super busy. Honestly, I just want to show you one more time how busy it is here. Like, if you like your photos with nobody in, there's absolutely no chance of getting that done today. So yeah, that is it. All the wonders of the world boxed off, wrapped up and sent in a one-way ticket to the old gulag. I'm going to give a full review, maybe in the coming days, once we'll be able to digest the old thoughts, questions in the comments, or whilst you're down there, hit the old subscribe button. Still en route to 3K subs. I'll see you tomorrow, babe. Remember, the chef is always cooking. Let's get it.